Eden joins me in the studio. Good evening to you, James.
Evening, Tom.
Let's start with Vladimir Putin. He's a man who is really shy of a photo opportunity, isn't he?
That's for sure, and it's no different at the APEC summit, Tom, where one media moment was picked up by, well, the world's media. And let's take a look at what that moment is. You can see it here in Vine form, so being played in a loop. And what you see is Vladimir Putin, in a very chivalrous manner, getting up, and can we see that? He's draping a shawl or a coat around the shoulders of Peng Liyuan, who is Xi Jinping's wife, the First Lady of China. Now, that is being played in a loop on, that's, for example, Russia Today's Twitter account, so very much being put forward as an image to be remembered. Less so, Tom, on Chinese state media, where, as Foreign Policy put it here, Putin hits on China's First Lady. I'm not really sure that's accurate. Censors go wild. So that moment there, somewhat less appreciated by the Chinese authorities. It was picked up initially by CCTV, and within hours it was wiped from their websites and from social media. It scrubbed clean of that image. I suppose the thing is, Xi Jinping was actually turned in the opposite direction, talking to Barack Obama, and I think there was a lot of comment on social media of an ironic nature that Putin saw his moment. He's newly single, and he was, making a move, so to speak, when it was probably, to be fair, just a moment of chivalry. And indeed, that's how the French media have interpreted le geste galant, or the chivalrous gesture of Vladimir Putin. It's got its own hashtag, Tom. Coatgate, even though I think, strictly speaking, it was a shawl. And Vox.com have 17 questions about this bizarre video of Putin maybe flirting with China's First Lady, such as, did he get his coat back? Because apparently she kept it around her shoulders for a few moments, and then it was passed on to an aide, and it appears to have disappeared. So there you go. A couple of images to pull from the archives, Tom. This is Vladimir Putin draping another shawl around the shoulders of Angela Merkel at a G20 summit, so it appears to be a gesture that he has not, that he has made at least once before. And it reminded me a little bit of the sometimes awkward moments when Jacques Chirac extended a baisement to various heads of state, very much an act of old-school chivalry. But I think this image of Laura Bush might indicate that not everyone is used to such acts of old-school chivalry. But I'm not sure if shawl draping and kissing of hands can be compared, but, well, I just did, so let's hope they can be.
Both perhaps the gestures of an old-school gentleman, as you suggested.
Indeed.
Let's move on to another story we're following here on France 24, very much in the news. Of course, today is the 11th of November, Armistice Day, and it's presumably generating a lot of discussion online.
That's right, indeed. A lot of images of heads of state marking Armistice Day, and with various ceremonies. This one, for example, poppies in and around the Tower of London, and various other very media, I suppose, friendly images. But one that was less kind to François Hollande, the French president, now, while he was inaugurating a memorial to 580,000 war dead, this in Notre-Dame de Lorette in France. Somebody flew by with an aeroplane because it was a big media moment, and with something behind it essentially saying Hollande stand down, and it was a plug for a website. Now that drew a huge amount of criticism across. He also tweeted about it and was trying to direct people towards his website, having made a similar move last year at Armistice Day when there were people gathered on the Champs-Élysées and booing the president. A lot of people saying, look, this is quite simply inappropriate behaviour. Politics should not be brought into what is a cross-party, across the social spectrum and even across national boundaries commemoration of the war dead during World War I. So those images did indeed do the tour of the web. I think it's interesting to note that I suppose if it was just network news coverage, a moment like that perhaps would have been ignored or minimised, but because there was so much criticism by politicians on social media, it then actually became a story that was covered more widely, Tom. So certainly, I think inappropriate behaviour, that seems to be the consensus.
Indeed, it certainly it doesn't seem like the right forum at all for getting a political message across. Thank you very much indeed for that, James Cruden. That was Media Watch. Well, it's time now for Focus here on France 24. Today we're going to turn our